Good evening, everybody. Mr. Mack here with another chapter of Restart. Chapter 13, Lucky 13, and we are in the point of view of Chase Ambrose. In the last chapter, we found out that Chase's memory is starting to come back in little chunks, bits and pieces, and their memories aren't good at all. One of the first memories to come back was him pulling the bear off his half sister's teddy bear, and he just recently had a memory of when his brother Johnny went to college, and Johnny was feeling bad, and their mom was feeling bad, and Chase is sitting there thinking what a wimp his brother was because he was feeling so bad. He's finding out, he's already found out since he's been back to school, what a bully and he was and all that from his classmates. People shy away from him, people run away from him in fear. The people who do hang out with him, the other football player, Aaron and Bear specifically, they're not pleasant people either. They're bullies, and they're mean-spirited, and they're rude, and they're all of that as well. So that doesn't say much for him either. He's started to get close to make friends with Mr. Solway, the elderly gentleman, the Korean military veteran, retired obviously. But he's been speaking with him a great deal, finds him fascinating and interesting and amazing. One of the most, he even says in the last chapter, he's probably, in his short time, of being this Chase, the Chase he is now, that Mr. Solway is the most interesting person he's ever met, greatest person he's ever met. So, and this whole thing about the Medal of Honor, Mr. Solway's lost it, I think. I think this whole time, with them having had their community service before Chase's accident at the home, I think they stole it. And I think then Chase had his accident. Now Chase completely, it's out of his mind. His memory's gone of that part. He doesn't, and according to what Bear said and what Aaron went along with, Chase has it. So I don't know. Let's see. A few more memories. I started to read chapter 12 again. Shoshana Weber, chapter 13. I get it. We're nerds. The video club, I mean. We own it, too. Take something meant as an insult and be proud of it. Nerd power. After all, the shoe totally fits. We wouldn't be as happy doing whatever it is the so-called cool people do. And I'm with her. Own it. Own who you are. I am more than proud to say that I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. I am. I love to read. I love books. I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I love art. I love, I am my own person. And I will own nerdism. I will own geekdom. But I don't like to be, put in a, there's no such thing as one size fits all. I am who I am, and I've always been that way. My whole life, I did what I wanted to do. Whether people thought it was weird, strange, or whatever, Shoshana's right. That's how I've always looked at it anyway, she says. We are who we are, and we're good with it. I figured the others felt the same way. Who cares what the popular kids think of us? Was I ever wrong about that? As soon as someone from the A-list showed even the slightest interest in the video club, we all went weak in the knees and lined up to love him. My friends used to act like attention from the cool people meant nothing to them because they never thought they'd get it anyway. But now they've had a little taste and they're hooked. Brendan, who was bullied by Chase almost as much as Joel was, has turned into Chase's biggest fan. Amazing. Oh, and none of those sheep can stop raving about Chase's amazing suggestion for my National Video Journalism Contest entry. Remember in the last video, he suggested that Mr. Solway be her choice for interview. I can think of a lot of words to describe Chase, and amazing isn't any of them. Except maybe that it's amazing he isn't in jail. On the other hand, well, that contest is important to me. And it's not like I've got any better idea. I did a little research, and the Medal of Honor turns out to be just as special as Chase says it is. Even a broken clock gives the correct time twice a day. I figure I'll go talk to this Mr. Solway. If he really did win a Medal of Honor, I owe it to myself to check him out. On the walk over to Portland Street, my phone rings. A message from Joel. JW, remember it's JW PianoMan in Shosh 466. JW, where are you? Shosh, in town. JW, hot date? Yeah, right. With the guy who must be at least 80, I thumb back. Shosh, video club business. JW, question mark, question mark, question mark. Shosh, meeting possible subject for contest video, Korean war hero. JW, wow, where'd you find him? I hesitate. I never did tell Joel that while he's suffering at Melton, Chase has moved in and taken over his spot in the video club. It would only make a miserable situation worse. And I'm definitely not going to admit that Chase put me onto Mr. Solway either. I don't like keeping secrets from my brother, but there are some things you just don't say. Some things you can't say. Maybe in a few months, if Joel starts fitting in at boarding school and making some friends there, or at least not hating it, I can break the news to him then. Then he won't care so much. So I message him back, Shosh, oh, just a friend of a friend. I put away my phone, praying that he doesn't ask for more information. Joel is a cross between a prosecuting attorney and a bloodhound if he gets the idea that you're holding out on him, especially now when he's lonely and bored, nothing better to do than think about home. At Portland Street, I ask the desk, and they direct me to room 121. And as I make my way through the halls, I get a sense of just how elderly some of these residents must be. My grandfather is 73, and he still rollerblades every morning. These people are way older than him. A lot of them must be in their 90s and maybe even 100. The door of 121 is ajar, so when I knock on it, it swings open. Mr. Solway? I ask tentatively. A gruff voice announces, "We don't want any." I'm not selling anything, sir. I step farther into the room and I get my first view of him. I can't see him directly since he's facing away from me, watching a news channel on TV. He's short but sturdy with thick white hair. I just want to talk to you. I'm in the video club at my school and, you call yourself a governor? He bellows suddenly at the TV. You couldn't run a hot dog cart. You're an idiot. I keep talking. I do that when I'm nervous. And, sir, there's this national contest where you have to interview a senior citizen who has led an interesting life. He turns in his chair and fixes me with his burning gaze. Do I know you? I'm still babbling. And I happen to hear that you were awarded the Medal of Honor in the Korean War. He reddens. Is that what this is about? That medal doesn't make me any more special than a lot of people who were there. Go interview one of them. Leave me out of it. I'm trying to be reasonable. Don't you want your story to be told? No. It's my story. It's enough for me to know it. By now, I've caught sight of the picture of President Truman hanging the medal around a younger Mr. Solway's neck, and I'm convinced that he has to be my subject. A lot of kids at my age, they just don't understand the sacrifices like people like you made for our country. Don't flatter me, kid. I'm 86 years old. There's precious little time left for me to be flattered. I don't want to be interviewed. I don't want to be thanked. All I want is for the dining room to stop serving creamed spinach. I'm completely defeated. The guy's impossible, absolutely determined to stew in his own misery. He almost reminds me of Joel, who was so ticked off at where he ended up that he can't allow himself to try to make the best of it. Because then he'd have nothing to complain about, and complaining is the only thing that keeps him going. The difference is that Joel has every right to be angry at the curveball life pitched him. This old creep is just plain mean. I'm about to go out the door and in defeat when a familiar voice announces, "Good news, Mr. Solway. I snagged the last pure Danish." And there he is, the alpha rat. The alpha rat of my family's nightmares, bearing a pastry on a paper plate. He's got a name tag on proclaiming him to be Chase/volunteer. The change in Mr. Solway is incredible. His crabby glower morphs into a grin that lights up the room. Come to think of it, it makes perfect sense. Who can cheer up a miserable jerk who would never give anybody else the skin off a grape? Only another miserable jerk, someone even nastier and more selfish. The two of them were made for each other. Then Chase notices me. "Oh, hi, Shoshana." His smile dissipates when I glare at him. "Wait a minute," Mr. Solway exclaims. "Is she your friend, Chase?" He nods. "We're in video club together. I'm the one who suggested you for her project." The old soldier thinks it over and comes to a conclusion with a curt nod. That makes it different. I'd be happy to help the two of you out. I don't like the sound of that. I don't have a partner for this contest, and even if I did, the last person on earth I'd ever choose would be Chase Ambrose. But if I say that to Mr. Solway, I'll get kicked out again, this time for good. I turn a furious eye on Chase. He gazes innocently back, and I know that somewhere deep inside he's laughing at me. Looks like I have a partner, whether I want one or not. And I don't. How am I ever going to explain this to Joel? Well, that was a good chapter. It wasn't too revealing, except there is a clue here. Something is evolving between Shoshana and Chase, and I think maybe perhaps some of us kind of maybe had a feeling that something would happen between Shoshana and Chase. That Shoshana's hatred, her hatred for Chase, would begin to melt away maybe a little bit. It's still there. It's still molten hot. Especially considering what was done with her brother. However, now it just seems like the two of them, Chase and Shoshana, are being thrust together in circumstances that neither one of them can control. I guess they can control them, but they're like here. She went to talk to Mr. Solway. He threw her out just as Chase happened to walk in. And with the relationship, the positive relationship that Chase has with Mr. Solway, it got Shoshana in there. And she knows that if she says to Chase, "No way, I'm not being a partner with you," Mr. Solway won't have any part of it. So she's kind of locked in because she knows it's a good deal. She knows Mr. Solway is an awesome person. So anyway. Chapter 14 is next. Let's just see who it is before we go. Okay, we're back to Chase. So we will come back to that. And I hope you come back. I hope you revisit. And I'm just looking here just to see. So there are 30 chapters. So we are just about almost halfway through. Chapter 14 will be next. Then it's chapter 15. And we will be smack dab in the middle of this book. Now, a lot of times where a book is concerned, it doesn't always happen this way, but a lot of times it does. The book starts out where it's introductory. You're meeting characters and you're finding out about places and events, and a problem happens. You get to the middle and it's kind of like climbing a mountain. Then you get to the middle of the book and you're at the top and things are really starting to bubble, and then it starts to move, and it starts to move down the other side and picking up momentum, just, as gravity would reach out and pull something down the side of a mountain. It would come faster and faster. That's, I'm sure, going to be no different for this book. Take good care. Come back for chapter 14, and take care of yourselves. Have a good night. Bye-bye.